James Vath. Oh, we lost you, James. There you are. You're back.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, you're cool. James Vath. James, introduce yourself for the audience.
Yeah, James Vath, American, living in Japan, going almost 20 years now. And I did the usual thing coming over here in the beginning, teaching English. But that everything changed like almost 5 years ago now. So uh,
Okay. So
get by.
yeah, let's get a little bit of your history. So what interested you in coming to Japan in the first place, and what brought you to stay as long as you have?
Oh yeah. Well, in coming here. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna take my jacket off here. Suddenly I got hot. Yeah, I was finishing university at about 30 years old, and I was thinking, oh, it would be really cool to live overseas in another country. I had traveled a lot when I was in the Navy for 6 years. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, living in another country for 2 or 3 years would be really cool. Well, I mean, we always visited for a few days, but living somewhere for a few years would be great. So I started looking into it, and I happened to mention it to a Japanese student on my campus that I knew, and he said, "Oh, you should check out this program." And then one thing led to another, and I came to Japan. So,
Oh, okay.
and
Okay.
I mean, I had been here in the Navy like a long time ago, so I'd visited. I mean, I was here a year and a half in the Navy, so I knew a little bit about it, the country, but
Right. Right.
yeah.
So the program you came over on, was that JET by any chance?
Yeah, I didn't
Or
come over on a program actually. I
oh,
didn't.
one more time?
I didn't come over on a program
Oh,
actually.
oh,
The
okay.
program, the program he recommended was Wisconsin State Chiba Ken sister state program because
Oh, I see.
my university was in Wisconsin, and I applied for that and didn't get accepted. And then I applied for the JET program and interviewed and stuff and didn't get accepted.
Right.
So I came on my own. So yeah. And the reason why I'm still here is just basically, inertia sets in. You know what I mean? The older you get, the harder it is to like make abrupt changes in your life.
Right.
So
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of people come here with the intent of a few years and stay quite long. A lot longer. I'm going on 12 myself. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Are you married, Shea?
Not
No.
yet. No. No,
Oh.
not married. So
Uh,
um,
if you have any, if you ever think about getting back, I mean, don't get married because that makes it so much harder. I always think about I'd like to go back, but it's just too hard at this point. Wife and two kids. We got a house here. She's got a good job. You know, Moving back to my hometown would be just about impossible to do. You know what I mean? I mean, just
right.
financially.
Right. Right. Because you'd have to move the whole family over there and find a new job, new setup. Basically, a huge life change, not just for you, but for everybody. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
How long have you been married, if I may ask?
just 10 years. We
10 years.
passed
Hmm.
in February. No, 11 years. I'm sorry. February was 11 years. Our anniversary is Valentine's Day.
Oh,
We
nice.
did. We didn't have a ceremony, but we went to the city hall and filed the papers. And I can remember it's 11 years because my daughter's 11 years old. She was
Hmm.
born like 3 months after we got married.
Okay. Okay.
So that's how I
Well,
remember.
congrats on almost 11 years then. That's good.
Yeah.
Um, so you came over here and started English teaching. How long did you do that?
About 13 or 14 years. 14 years, I guess, huh? Yeah.
Okay.
I was working for a school, and I changed to another school, and then both those first two schools went out of business when I was working there. And then I started my own school and did that for quite a long time. And even if you just like even have your own classroom. You're going here and there doing the piecemeal work. You can still make a decent living, but
Right.
I did that about 14 years, I guess. I was renting my own classroom and stuff, and it was all right work. But towards the end, it's just so much of the same pattern, the same thing over and over again, and nobody really seems to improve, hardly. So I was really like wanting to get out of it, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't see a way out because it's like a decent income, and it's hard to transition to something else in Japan here.
Right. Right. So you you were on a basically a spouse visa at this point when you had your own school.
Yeah, well, no, I was on a regular visa until I got married. Then
Okay.
I went on the spouse visa.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Because
I mean,
I
I'm
I'm
sorry,
go ahead.
part of the time, in the beginning, I wasn't on a spouse visa. My friend, a good friend of mine, Japanese guy,
Yeah.
helped sponsor me uh, in the beginning when I started my school
Okay.
because it was just me only working there. I can't sponsor myself. So the school was part of like his company or something. I don't know. He did all the paperwork. Really nice Japanese dude, friend, longtime friend. But after I got married, which was after the school started a few years later, then I went to the spouse visa.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I think depending on your visa, you have other options. Wasn't sure if you were on permanent residency yet or anything, but
I got permanent residency, but it was taken away later when I got in trouble. Yeah.
okay. Okay. So let's get to that. So you mentioned that you got in trouble about 5 years ago. So
Yeah.
care to indulge in that?
Yeah, it was what was it 4 years and about 8 months or something. Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
4 years ago from last year May, 4 years prior to that.
Okay.
So this May would be 5 years. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
it was my daughter's birthday. It was my daughter's birthday, and I saw the kids up to school, gave them hugs and kisses as I always do. And
Yeah.
then I wasn't busy. I mean, I guess I had afternoon classes or something. It was a weekday, but I went
Mm.
out to the storeroom to get a ladder, and like 10 police bum rushed me and grabbed me up because in the storeroom I was also growing marijuana,
I
and
see.
I had been snitched out by another American guy. It turned out, yeah. So not a Japanese. It was an American guy that snitched me out.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can you believe that shit, man?
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So I got arrested for growing marijuana, and tons of police came. They searched the whole house, and they found a little bit of dried marijuana, like only like 3 point something grams,
Mm-hmm.
dried cannabis. But in the storeroom, I had like a bunch of small plants, maybe like 8 inches or something, but
Right.
like a hundred of them, you know, under some fluorescence and stuff. And yeah, so I was in the police detention center there for 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
So
mean, hmm.
yeah. So before we get to that experience, now were you aware of the harsh penalties that Japan had in terms of cannabis at this point, or were you surprised at the level of the draconian level of punishment that was about to come your way?
No, no. I mean,
Mm,
the everyone's surprised when I say it, but to be
mm.
honest, I mean, I know the attitudes about marijuana in Japan, but the reputation is worse than what it actually is.
Okay.
To be honest, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, a lot of gaijin like to beat up on the Japanese for having like, well, you can get 5 to 7 years. Nobody gets 5 to 7 years, man. Everyone, if it's your first offense and it's not selling, you get a suspended sentence. You
Okay.
won't don't do any jail time. But yeah, I mean, I knew about how strict they are and stuff. Of course, yeah. I mean, I've lived here a long time, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you You get raided by the police, and you spend 6 weeks in a detention center before your trial. Is that right?
Yeah, I was 6 weeks in the police detention facility there, and then I got out on bail. And
Oh,
then the trial was like after another month or two. Something.
I
Actually,
see.
you have the one trial, and then you come back a month later, and then you get the sentencing. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, how was your experience in the detention center?
Well, if many people probably know they can hold you up to like 24 days without sentencing you, which is in my case it was 21 days, and then they rearrest you and they do it again. So it became like 3 weeks and then 3 weeks. It's a real like psychological fuck they do. The guy that snitched me out, I had talked to him before that, so he didn't tell me he snitched me out like he should have, but he told me that they had rearrested him. It's a psychological fuck, man. You know,
Yeah.
you're in the detention facility for 3 weeks, and then they tell you, okay, you're getting out, and they take you and they give you all your stuff back. They process you out. Then they take you downstairs. Like this other guy, the guy that ratted me out, he thought he was getting out. He was so fucking happy. And then they brought him downstairs and they rearrest you and they reprocess you. And they take all your shit back away from you again and bring you back upstairs and put you back in the cell. So I mean, that's what broke him. You know what I mean? He didn't snitch on me the first 3 weeks, but the second arrest, the rearrest, he gave
Gotcha.
me up. He gave me up. Yeah, they don't tell you what's happening because they want it to like hurt you psychologically. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right.
So that's what happened. It was the first arrest was because this guy told the police that I sold him stuff, which I had. Truth be told, I didn't tell the police that. But the second arrest, the rearrest, was because they had found stuff at my house.
Okay.
3 point something grams dried cannabis and all these little seedlings, like 8 inches high. So they had an extra charge to add on, which they don't need to, because during the first 3 week period, I was like, look, you already found everything, the evidence, so I can't deny it. If there was nothing there, I'd deny it. But you found some fucking weed, right? So, look, yeah, I was growing weed for myself. I admit it. So I already admitted it. They didn't need to
Right.
rearrest me, but
Yeah.
they did it anyways because they want to mess with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Fuck. That sounds pretty harsh. How are the conditions in the detention center though?
Yeah, well, again, I'll say the reputation is worse than what they actually were in my case.
Okay.
Like recently, we had this Gone thing went on and on, right? Gone, and he's talking about like that night the lights don't get turned off, and I've heard that many times, but the lights were turned off in my place, man. In the hallway, the fucking where the cops are patrolling you, there's lights, but your own
Yeah.
individual room, the lights are turned off.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and well, I'll explain it. I'll describe it to you. It's like maybe a four-mat tatami room,
Okay.
including like the toilet area, and it's tiny, man. Which is another funny thing, is you always see these gaijin bashing the system, saying you're in solitary confinement. That room's so small, you don't want another person in there. you
Right.
know. I
Yeah.
had another guy in there for like 3 or 4 days. I fucking hated it. Get this guy out of my cell. I was fucking telling the people. He goes and takes a dump. You can smell his shit. His pubic hair is all on the floor.
Ugh.
You gotta lay. I mean, there's only room in that space for like two futons laying right next to each other. It's like,
Yeah.
just get this guy out. I didn't want him there, man. It's horrible.
Yeah.
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 So
You'd rather be alone in that case.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I
Smelling some
mean,
guy's farts all night or something.
yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. The room's too small. I wanted him gone right away.
Yeah.
So plus, I mean, I kind of like went a little bonkers or something in there, man. The stress of it or something. I was like walking in circles around my cell every day,
Hmm.
like 5 hours. I had a routine. Where I'd walk in circles around my cell like 5 hours every day. I do 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours after lunch, and then an hour in the evening before lights out. And
Right.
yeah, just for the exercise, just because it's too much time by yourself, you get a little stir crazy or something. If
Mm-hmm.
that guy was there, I couldn't walk. But when they got him out, I could get back into my walking routine. I lost like 12 kilograms, like 25 pounds in six
Yeah.
weeks from walking every day
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
around around the circumference of my cell. Yeah,
How's the food? Like,
yeah.
it's just basic.
I was just about to go there. That's another thing that people
Yeah.
always say the food's terrible, but we had good bento, man. It was like a company, regular company bento,
Okay.
a bento company. Like if there's another company that wants to order bentos for everybody, they'll order from that company. It was good, man. The bentos
Huh.
were good. Food was good. Everyone always dogs the food. It was fucking top quality bento, better than like you're gonna get the konbini. Better than a
Okay.
konbini bento. You know,
Yeah.
always nice like tsukemono in there. Yeah, and it's the funny thing is like you're in there, you're not drinking. There's no sweet drinks, and like after like a week or two, you start feeling really healthy, man.
Yeah.
Because there's no drugs, there's no alcohol, there's none of this sugar. Yeah, everyone's like, I'm in the bath, with the other guys. They're all like, "Oh, I feel so healthy. This is great." It's like a spa or something, man. Except for
Yeah.
you can't leave. You're like in a tiny metal cage. But
Right.
I mean,
Right.
the food was all right, man. People dog it a lot. Gaiji foreigners. And
Yeah.
I understand why they're doing it. The reason. I mean, but the food is not one of the bad things. Some of the things that people complain about are justified. Like when you're getting interrogated, you can't have your lawyer present at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll get interrogated every day for long hours, and you can't have your lawyer present. And they're just trying to get you to admit something or to contradict yourself. It's a real battle of the wits, man. But one of the things people always say is like the police will be really like aggressive and violent and shit. My
Hmm.
cop, the guy that was interrogating me, was super polite. He never got angry once. I got angry all the fucking time. I was like, "You motherfucker!" Blah! I'm screaming all the time. He was so cool. He never got
Hmm.
angry. This guy
Hmm.
never got angry, and just trying to get you to admit to something that you did, or trying to get you to contradict yourself. You know.
Now, see, you had confessed, right? So, do you think that changed their tactics or your treatment while you were there at all? Because you said they were trying to get you to admit something, but if you've already admitted to everything, then what were they trying to do?
Well, no, I mean they found the weed and some plants, so they got that. But then they're asking you like details, like what did you do? How did you do it? How long did
Yeah.
you do it? Exactly what in which way did you do it? Yada yada yada. They ask you just the most stupid detailed questions, man. And they want you to like actually obviously name people, really.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Rat people out.
Well, that's like their main strategy, right? Get people to confess onto other people. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I was growing for about 7 years, and I sold a lot to a lot of different people, man, foreigners and Japanese. And there were a lot of people who were really worried when I was in. But obviously I didn't give any names up. In
Yeah.
fact, I mean, I was like really worried that somehow somebody connected to me would get in trouble because of me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to go, I used to go to sleep at night really worried about that. Oh my God, what if, you know, Joe Schmo, I'm not going to say anyone's real name, but what if he somehow, the soup nicest guy, this young American dude, whatever, what if he somehow gets caught up in this shit. And yeah, and worried all the time. But I didn't give
Yeah.
anyone's name up, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I
I
used
mean,
to tell him, I'm sorry, go
go ahead.
ahead. I used
No,
to
you go
like,
ahead.
I used to like. Well, it was like I said before, it was like a kind of a battle of the wits where you got to remember what lie you told the cop, because you're gonna give him some of the truth, but not what really happened. And
Right.
like, what did I say before? And I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah, I mean, But I don't know. I forgot my point. Whatever it was.
Yeah, yeah,
It'll come back.
yeah, yeah. Basically, they just try and wear you down to get you to give more information, pretty much, right?
Mm, yeah, I mean, getting people to rat on each other is their main strategy here, right?
Yeah,
So, I
yeah.
mean,
So when
I wasn't going for that. I told them I'm not telling you anyone's name about anything, so don't waste your time with it.
hmm
Uh,
Now the guy that ratted you out, like how was he caught? Do you know? Or
Yeah, yeah, I know, man. I mean,
yeah,
basically, I talked to him once
yeah,
before I got arrested. I mean, I saw in the paper he was arrested, and I cleaned up all my shit and put it out somewhere else.
yeah.
And then, like several weeks passed, I was overconfident. I mean, it's really embarrassing. I got caught. I should have been smarter. I was overconfident, and I thought like this guy will never rat me out. I mean, I waited a month or something. I don't know, and then I just started smoking in my office. With my buddy, and was starting up some seedlings to put out on the mountain.
hmm
And then I stopped by the guy's house. I didn't know he was out. I stopped by there on the way back from a job, and like he's fucking there. I'm like, what? I should have like given me a clue right then. He got out. He didn't tell me he was out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was so stupid. But I talked to him, and it was like he he had got it from me from some other guy, some Japanese dude, and then that guy had got caught with it and ratted on him, and he in turn ratted me out. So
Okay. So like
yeah,
the chain of rats, pretty
yeah,
much. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But it stopped with me, man. So I just
Well,
said, fuck.
yeah. Well, I mean that's good. No one else, got caught up in it. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Now, whereabouts in
Felt good.
Japan do you live?
Yeah, Totori Prefecture,
Okay.
Yonago, close to Yonago City. I'm not in
Okay.
Yonago City. Yonago's like Yonago's like the second largest city in Totori, which is actually the smallest prefecture in the whole country.
Right.
Population wise, it has the lowest population in any prefecture. Yeah, Yonago is Yonago is the second largest city, and I'm outside of that. I'm in like a smaller area. It's like 10,000 people or something. So
Okay.
yeah.
So kind of like the Inaka out here. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah, it's Inaka for sure, man. Where I'm
yeah.
working now, I'm working now. It's like that little cho is next to the cho I live in. It's only got like 3,000 people. It's a huge area, man.
Yeah.
Tiny. There's nobody there. No.
So you get out of the detention center. You have out on bail. Then you have your trial a month later, and you get a suspended sentence, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's how it went. Mm.
Okay. And how long was that for?
It was what was it like 3 years suspended for 4. So like I said, last May or no
Yeah.
last September, the suspended sentence finished.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, the sentencing was on 9/11. Believe it or not. Yeah, it's easy to remember the date, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
9/11. The first court date was 8/10, I think it was, and then the sentencing was a month later, 9/11, and I got 3 years jail time, suspended for 4 years.
Okay.
So I had
Yeah.
that for that 4 years ended last September. It was kind of like hanging over your head or something.
Yeah. So
I was
during that time, what is the restriction there? Like, if you get caught doing the same thing again, or is it like any crime? It kind of breaks it.
Yeah, from what I heard, any crime. So I'm like even like a traffic accident where someone gets hurt or something. That's what I was always worried about. But I had a
Yeah.
lot of people tell me, Japanese people, if you have like a bad traffic accident where someone gets hurt, you'll get those fucking 3 years put back on you.
Yeah.
And I was always worried about that, man. Out here in the boondocks, lots of old people driving around. Christ, just last year, man, I was driving back from work. This old lady standing on the side of the road. And I'm driving, and I'm like, she's gonna wait for me to pass, right? Right? She walked right out in front of my truck. I'm swerving to the fucking right and then back. She's full of dementia. She don't know what she's doing, but it was like I had to swerve, man. If
Right,
I'd have been
right.
like, if I'd have been like looking at my phone or something, it would have been death, and that would have been me going to jail for that.
Yeah,
Plus, the remorse
yeah, yeah,
of killing someone. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Jesus, keep your old
No, no
people
kidding.
inside. You know what I mean? Jesus.
Right, right. Yeah, they're like that around here as well. You always gotta watch out for people. So
Yeah,
especially in the country roads.
yeah,
Some
yeah.
some old OG-chan just pissing in the street. You gotta
Yeah.
watch out for him. So
Where are you
yeah,
at, Shea?
I'm in Tochigi. Tochigi. Yeah.
Tochigi? I don't even know what that is. Is that
It's
Shikoku?
no, it's over in
North.
Kanto.
Oh, is it
Yeah, Kanto
north?
area. So
North
yeah, do you
Kanto?
know like it's one prefecture south of Fukushima? So
Okay, okay.
yeah,
So,
out east.
gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You're on the East Coast.
Yeah, yeah.
East
We're
Coast.
we're we're landlocked. It's a
Oh,
landlocked prefecture,
landlocked.
but
Landlocked.
yeah, yeah.
Ibaraki, maybe north above Ibaraki.
Right next to Ibaraki. They're to the east of
Mm.
us. Gunma, Ibaraki, Fukushima, Saitama. So
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
okay. Mm.
Yeah, it's real nice here. I mean, Utsunomiya is the main city, but
Uh,
outside of that, there's small towns. Nikko is probably the most famous thing out here.
mm.
The
Whiskey.
historical area of Nikko.
Yeah. Nico whiskey. I was thinking that's Nika maybe.
Yeah,
Nico. I don't know, man. Yeah, it sounds familiar, but I don't know.
it's the Tokugawa Ieyasu. That's where
Uh,
he's buried. Yeah, that's where he's
oh,
buried up there.
oh.
So it's real beautiful up there. Nikko is
Mm.
it's real pretty. If you're into hiking and stuff, like Tochigi's a really good prefecture to go hiking in. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah, man. I think it's good hiking pretty much everywhere. It's just all mountains and shit in Japan. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
even even close by, there's just tiny little mountains everywhere.
hmm Yeah, like 200-300 meter high mountain.
Yeah,
Well, almost like hills.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, but they're steep. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like that. Some of those, actually, the smaller ones like that are the ones where I've had to use ropes to climb to the summit.
Hmm.
The larger ones have trails pretty much to the top. So,
Do you do hiking then? Do you go hiking a lot?
oh yeah, yeah. I started hiking about 2011,
Mm.
and I've done it every year since then. So,
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. I like hiking myself. I'm a big nature guy. Being
yeah,
from Minnesota, yeah. So I did a lot of hiking around here too myself. Yeah, I love it for sure. And bird watching. And I did camera trapping. You know, camera trapping,
no, what's up?
like a trail cameras.
Okay.
Hunters use them like an automatic camera.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you
Yeah,
set them on
yeah,
the trails? Yeah.
yeah. It's just like a box. You tie it to a tree, and then animal comes and takes a picture of them. I did
Oh,
that for
that. I
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I've seen those. Okay.
yeah.
hmm
Check my photo albums on my Facebook page, man. I've got tons
Okay.
of good pictures, man. Fox,
Okay.
tanuki, lots of martins, beautiful martins, man. Lots of good stuff in there. Badgers, pigs, and stuff. Lots of stuff, man.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
have to check that out. That's
yeah,
cool. That's cool.
yeah. It's
So,
fun.
yeah, yeah. So what do you do now? Are you still teaching, or have you moved on to other another vocation?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Yeah. Well, since the marijuana arrest destroyed everything, uh, I could have probably tried to go back to teaching English if I
hmm
wanted to. I could have probably tried to go back to it, but I just took it as an opportunity to go a different direction. It hasn't been easy, mind you, man, at all. I'm still dirt poor, man. But I think eventually, it'll be good to get out of the teaching English thing. Eh? You teach English, do you not? Shea?
I run I manage a couple of schools, but yeah,
Yeah.
I started that way as well. Yeah.
So there you
Hmm.
go. It's
Yeah.
the same business, man.
Right.
Managing or teaching is almost the same thing in my opinion, man. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so it was a rough transition and it's still not smooth, but eventually I hope it'll be good. The first thing when I first got out, I took about 6 months off or something. And actually,
Hmm.
not about 4 months off. Well, 4 months I didn't work there. Actually, shit, it was only 3 months now that I think about it. It was January the following year. You need a job, you need money, so what can I do, you know? So I started doing agricultural labor, farm labor.
Okay. Hmm.
So I was doing negi work. You know negi, right?
Yeah, the little onions, yeah, green onions, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
like a Welsh onion, like a leek. They're
Yeah.
big thick ones, you know. They're not like a scallion, but
Okay.
like a big leek, like a Welsh
Hmm.
onion. Properly called, they're Welsh onions, yeah. I did that for like a year and a half. It was hard work, man. The first day I went there, man, I was dying. It's like you don't do manual labor for a long time, and then you try and do it, and forget about it. It kills you.
Yeah.
But
I bet your back was hurting every day, right?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I got like but pinched nerves and stuff in my back. The first month or two maybe was pretty rough, but after that you get used to it, you know.
Right.
So I did that. It was close by my house too. The company, it's like walking distance. I could walk there in less than 10 minutes, man. So that was nice, real close. It's a neighborhood. It's the same. It's the same show, you know. So,
Right. Right.
but yeah, I got kind of irritated at that job, and then this other guy offered me a job doing shiitake.
Okay.
Shiitake cultivation, which was great, man. I swear that shiitake, it's farm labor, and you're working outside every day, no matter what the weather looked like. It don't matter. You're outside working,
Right.
and the logs that they grow the shiitake on are real heavy, man. And
Right. Yeah.
you gotta carry a lot of them like every day. But that all being said, it's still like the best job I ever had, in my opinion, man. Almost every day I was out in the mountain by myself working. By myself, just me and the birds tweeting, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody bothered me. I'm carrying the logs, I'm doing the work. There's nobody bothered me. Just the sounds of nature in the mountain by myself. It was great, man. A large part of the year we were in this other different mountain and I was cutting down trees, cutting them with the chainsaw, cutting them up into 1 meter sections, pulling them with the what's that called? An excavator.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, pulling them around. We had some things to carry them out. Yeah, it was great, man. The logs, it was awesome, man. Just me outside in the mountain every day, doing like hard work. It was great.
Yeah. That
But
actually sounds kind of nice, to be honest with you.
and
Yeah.
dude, you would like it, man. I'm sure.
Yeah.
After a year, the guy cut me though, man. I mean, the
Mm.
guy, he was like a friend of a friend from like 10 years ago. I didn't really know him, you know, but
Hmm.
he was like, he doesn't make that much money to have another employee. He
Mm.
usually hires part-time work and stuff, you know. So, anyways, and he rips people off a lot. I heard about later, but he paid me fine, so that was good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good. At least you didn't get screwed on that. So,
Fuck,
and
he would.
then,
Yeah, he wouldn't screw me, man, because he knows I live right Nick. I live near
yeah,
where he is. I know where all his shit is.
yeah, yeah,
I'd go and take like 100 logs or whatever. I would get my revenge if I had
yeah,
to. If he screwed me.
yeah,
My
yeah.
good friend, this Japanese guy, Mr. Yamane, good friend. I went hiking with him. One time, me and Mr. Yamane went down to Kyushu,
Hmm.
and over the Shogatsu vacation, we stayed at his wife's little family besso, falling
Hmm.
apart extra house. We climbed 4 mountains in 5 days, all on the
Nice.
Hyakumeizan, the 100 famous mountains list.
Yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
We did 4 and 5 days. It was great. Great guy, this my friend Mr. Yamane. So he's how I found this other guy, right? He's
Okay.
the guy that introduced me to this other guy. So he was working with this other guy, my old boss, and he bought all this equipment. He did all this work. He didn't get 1 yen money back. The guy fucked him for everything.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's
so I mean,
that's cold. Yeah,
yeah, right. He's a little
yeah,
douche. I didn't find out about it till later, till after I was working there, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Anyways, yeah, so yeah, Japanese people are so honest. Yeah, a lot of them will fucking rip you off, man. So they're just people like anyone else. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah, that's something a lot of people still, unless you've lived here, people just have this preconceived notion that, Japanese are different than other people. No,
Yeah,
they're human beings just like everyone else. So,
exactly, man.
hmm
I've said the same thing so many times. People have this kind of like idealized notions of them in different ways. You know, idealized this way, idealized this way. But they're just people, man. They put their
yeah,
pants on in the morning, go to work like everyone else.
yeah,
You know what I mean? They have the
yeah.
same human weaknesses. The society has some benefits and some downsides. It's kind of unique, the society, you know.
Right.
But people, the individual human beings, yeah, we're all made.
Yeah,
We're all the same, right? You know what I mean?
exactly, exactly. So now, since you've been out and you're continued on with life, but you're now a proponent for cannabis legalization in Japan, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny. You're leading us along very smoothly, man. I gotta give it to you there. I can't keep track of it. I'm drinking a little bit. Yeah, after I got out, yeah. I mean, I never said boo about it before, but I mean, when I got arrested, man, the wrongness of it, the injustice of it, the
hmm
indignity of it, man, really, I felt it really deeply, and I still do to this day. You know,
hmm
it's so wrong, man. You get a plant; it's a medicine. It helps people. It doesn't harm anyone,
Right.
and if you have any connection with that plant, they'll take you and they'll throw you into like a little metal box,
Yeah.
like you're
Cage almost. Yeah.
it's a cage for sure, man. Like a dog that has rabies or something, or some sick animal or something that's dangerous. They'll throw you in
hmm
there, man. I mean, it's not a joke, man. It's a fucking metal box, man. You get inside one of those things, you'll see it. The sides are concrete, but the whole front is like a really metal screen.
hmm
It's every little window section has like 100 rivets. It's like advertising its ability to keep you in there, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You,
And the
the,
fact that they
you,
throw you in that just for having this plant that's not even harmful, like alcohol, tobacco are everywhere in Japan, and this is something that is, can actually help people with many ailments.
yeah, very true,
Yeah.
man. I tried to
Yeah.
tell that to the investigating detective guy that was uh, interrogating me all the time. You know, I told him, man, look on the internet, and you'll see, right? Alcohol and tobacco cause more social harm than any other drug, right?
Yeah.
And marijuana helps people, but yet alcohol is legal and marijuana is illegal. It's like completely upside down, reverse to the logical order of things, you know.
Right.
And, I mean, to his credit, he kind of listened a little bit, man. But I
Well,
said, man,
I
big
think,
times.
yeah, the people I've encountered, they say, yeah, that might be true, but the law is the law, and you have to follow the law. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but the argument I always make then is, okay, well, certain laws in the past are they just because it's law, does it make it moral? Like, I mean, you can equate it, you could go back to, slavery
yeah,
in the United States was
yeah.
legal,
Mhm.
and that was an evil thing. There's so many examples of that, you know what I mean? So,
Yes, and
yeah.
you are 100% right. And I've said that so many times, man. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Legality and morality are not the same, right? And there's been lots of like things that we now know are immoral, but they were legal at the time.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, not just slavery, but like the Jews in Germany, or maybe
Hmm.
even Koreans in Japan. Like you got to report your neighbor, and he'll
Yeah.
probably get killed because of what, his race, his ethnicity. Many things like that. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. I've said many times the exact same thing you just said. I had a student actually, man, a girl, and I had her from like age 4 or 5, man, maybe 6, up to
Hmm.
like graduating high school. I had a
Right.
long term student, man,
Yeah.
and one of my two success stories at the end, she was like fluent in English.
Yeah. Yeah.
And towards the last few years, we were reading lots of interesting stuff like psychological studies. If you do like
Hmm.
a Wikipedia search, psychological studies, there's lots of interesting things coming up there. Like the one where they have to like keep administrating the electric shocks.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know that? You know that one?
Yeah. Is that the that's more
Uh,
recent one, right? Well, why I say recent, it's not like 19th century psychology.
no, that's
This,
like 70s or 80s, I think, man.
right.
But like, it's all like the guy's wearing the lab coat, and he says, "Give him another shock,"
Hmm.
so that they to the person in the next room, so they do it, even though they don't want to do it. The guy in the lab coat is nobody, anyways. He's just a
Okay.
fucking like
Yeah.
grass suit or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like the authority of that lab coat, and they're like, "I don't want to do it. You must complete the test." Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And the person in the other room is fucking screaming, ah! But they do it anyways because they gotta obey authority.
Yeah.
Yeah, we read all that shit. Me and this girl, lots of
Yeah.
stuff like that. We read Lord of the Flies, Animal Farm, lots of good stuff, subversive
Hmm.
literature
Good.
like
Some
this.
Orwell in there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right,
Yeah.
man, fucking right. And at the end, like I was asking her, is there any kind of situation where you think it might be like morally right, or like you think you could, break the law?
Yeah.
And she was like, no.
Wow.
No,
Yeah.
no. I was like, I'm a failure. Did my best over years to try to like put some kind of authority questioning
Hmm.
vibe into this girl, and it just didn't work, man. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
the hope is that maybe later in life, some of that stuff she read will,
Sink in or something. Yeah.
well, come to fruition.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's she took it all in the beginning. Maybe it just takes a little while to develop in her mind. Jesus.
The things I've noticed about people, mostly Japanese people, who are more apt to question authority or to just be a little bit uh, think outside the cultural society's box, are ones who've lived abroad. Even if it's
Sure.
a
Oh
couple of
yeah.
years in Canada or the U.S. or Australia or anywhere really, they come back. Even if they live the rest of their life in Japan, they know what it's like to be outside of Japanese society and rules, and they're like, there's another world out there, so they're
Yeah,
more
yeah.
apt to be flexible in a lot of areas, I've found.
Without a doubt, man. Without a doubt,
Hmm.
yeah. At my recent Christmas party at my friend's English school, there was this girl there, high school girl. Still,
Yeah.
man. She's going to school in California. She's asking me where she can get some weed. I was like, I don't know, man, but yeah. She's like,
It's
yeah, weed.
California. It's pretty much everywhere now. Well, it's
Yeah,
pretty much always been everywhere there, but. Yeah.
totally different, man. I've got a
Mm.
few good Facebook friends, Japanese people that like they grew up for like I don't know, a few years, whatever, as in their kid age, in their
Hmm.
childhood. I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 years in America or Canada or Australia or New Zealand or something. They come back, they don't fit in. They're like, yeah, these people are mental. They're thinking about the
Yeah.
Japanese. The whole mindset changes.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, man, you gotta get into this Japanese system from the beginning and get it fucking molded onto you by your parents and the school system and the whole society, and have it constantly reinforced, and then never leave the system at all, in
Mm-hmm.
order for it to really be effective, man. Because any kind of like other viewpoint that kind of seeps in there is going to make you question that,
Right.
uh, that what's the word, man? I can't think of it.
Yeah,
The
it's just the conformity of the society, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's like that, the saying, the nail that sticks up gets
Uh,
hammered down, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
paradigm is the word I was thinking of, man.
Okay. Paradigm. Gotcha.
Yeah, the whole system together. Yeah, that I love that phrase. I was thinking about using it for my show. I have an art show
Okay.
coming up
Yeah.
in like May. Just me, just because I'm renting a small gallery space. Nobody is like celebrating me. I have to celebrate myself. But I rented a small gallery space, and I'm gonna be able to get up like 100 pieces or something, man.
Cool.
And the nail that sticks up. Just like 2 hours ago, I was thinking about that.
Hmm.
I've been trying to think about titles, and like that might be a good title. I was thinking, the nail that sticks up, because it
Yeah.
works both. It works both in Japanese and English. I could
Yeah.
go Derekui, the nail that sticks up.
Hmm.
Like that.
Yeah. So, um, can you get into a little bit about what kind of art you do and how you got into that world as well?
Yeah, I mean, I went to university for art,
Okay.
so when I was in the Navy, I used to take a lot of pictures, and so I was just thinking photography, and I hadn't broken it down to photojournalism or art. I was just thinking photography, so they put me in the art department, and I started studying art without
Okay.
actually having decided to study art. You know what I mean? So yeah, I did a lot of art. I did a lot of photography, did a lot of collage, wrote a lot of poetry. And back in those days, came to Japan, and I wasn't feeling it for a long time, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something about Japan, like the first, well, I don't know, 10 years, man, 15 years, just like really stifling. I felt like stifled, like
Hmm.
I couldn't get any kind of like really energetic, creative vibe going,
Right.
But I did a little bit here and there, but I couldn't really get into it. But last year, Jesus, oh yeah, after the shiitake job, man, I was doing a construction job. Construction,
Yeah.
fucking rebar. I was doing rebar for four
Oh
months
man.
in the middle
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
summer. In the middle of summer, rebar gets hot, man, and it's heavy as fuck. And it was like 33, 34 degrees every day, which I could have put up with. But my boss was a douche and always yelled at me, so I quit after like 4 months. But yeah, so after I quit that job, my knees were hurting me. I was laying on the couch, and for like a week or two, and I had downloaded this some kind of photo editing app onto my phone, like
Hmm.
a couple months before, but never used it. And
Right.
then just out of the boredom, I started using it just out of boredom, and like the floodgates opened. I just started making collage. I call it digital collage,
Okay.
is what I call it. It's like collage, but it's a little bit different, maybe from cut and paste collage. So I call it digital collage. It's lots of images mixed together. It's all digital. And I was doing my phone for a long time. Now I do it on the computer on Photoshop, and it's digital art, but it's kind of collagey. I don't know, man. I try to make a nice image. It's all about
Yeah.
the color. The color, and I put text on my. All of them have a human element, and they almost all have text in them. And I tried to make some kind of text that is not related to the image necessarily, but yeah. So every day I'm into it, man. For like a year, it's been like that was also 9/11.
Okay.
Last 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 year, 9/11, the day after I quit my construction job, and I've been making it every day since. You know, I mean, it's really,
Awesome.
yeah. I
And
play,
you show that off on social media like Facebook and Instagram, correct?
yeah, it's on my Facebook, and I have it on Instagram, and I made a separate page, Facebook page for it called Meta
Hmm.
Collage. But I mean, the reaction's been mixed. I'd say, you know, I mean, it's funny in the beginning. In the beginning, people really like it, and they're like, "I love it, I love it." But I post maybe I post too much. I work every day. I put in like 3, 4, 5 hours every day doing this, beside
Right.
my job. That's when I work. That's when I have a job. I mean, before and after work.
Hmm.
If I have the day off, it's like 8 or 9 hours, you know. And I'm working every day or posting every day. I think people get sick of seeing it. It's too much, you know. They see it every day. It comes up. People in the beginning always there's like a new friend. In the beginning, they're loving it. They're loving it, and slowly, slowly, the enthusiasm kind of wanes, you know, because it's just
Hmm.
too much, you know. Uh,
But you've built up quite a portfolio now, though. So, I mean, for your gallery, you should have quite a bit to show off. Yeah.
yeah, well, I have like 100 pieces. I say I've made like 650 now. I'm gonna show about 100. Pick the best ones, but my goal is to make 10,000.
Okay.
Which it just came to me on a whim, like after I was about 3 weeks into it, you know, just for no reason. I don't know, man. I mean, I've always felt like and known like to be a great artist, you have to be prolific and
Yeah.
do a lot of work. So that's my goal is to just do like make like 10,000 of them over a 20-year period or something. But I
Right.
think at the end of the second year, I'm gonna stop putting them on social media because I mean people do it's too much, you know.
Hmm. Well, or I mean, you could just space them out. You know.
Yeah, maybe
Uh,
pick the best one a week or something.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's cool, man. I mean, it's always nice to get that find your outlet, creative outlet. I know years ago, I was working at a school, and every year the kids would have a school play, right? And for that, they would have to have this backdrop, and it was the
Yeah.
teacher's job to make that. So they'd do something like Wizard of Oz or Peter Pan or something like that, and
Mm.
um, I've always enjoyed drawing and painting, so I would just get giant sheets of paper, square them together, sketch out kind of what I wanted, look at a
Yeah.
few things for inspiration, but then I would get just a pencil and
Yeah.
do a very light sketch on this huge sheet of paper and
Oh.
just get the paints out and just dive in, sometimes 7, 8 hours a day.
Sweet. Oh.
After I was
Yeah.
supposed to go home, I stayed, 7 hours after work, just dove
Yeah.
into this thing and just painted, and I felt I didn't feel like, oh, I wasted my time. I felt, man, that was my head was clear. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, man.
yeah.
Of
So
course. Yeah, it's great.
hmm
It's like too fun, man. Right? That's what you should be getting paid for, man.
right, right. So I bought last year I bought some canvases and some
Sweet.
paints, and like you though,
Awesome.
I feel like my problem is I feel like I'm waiting around for some sort of inspiration or something, and
Oh
I think
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
just need to start doing it because I doodle every
yep,
day. I
yep, yep,
sketch something every day, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't I never put it in a project.
yeah. Dude, yeah, just get into it, man. I
Yeah.
mean, I had like a long time where I wasn't making any art, you know, but once it started up, the second it's just this now time, right? Then
Hmm.
I just told myself I'm gonna just make it every day, and even like some days, like you said, you don't feel it, right? You
Right.
don't feel you don't feel inspired. It doesn't matter. You got to make something.
Make something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you just got to just do it. I mean, you,
yeah,
you, you look at someone like Bob Ross. He made it a TV show. He's
yeah,
like
yeah,
that forced him to do it. So
yeah.
and
That's sweet.
that's Yeah. So.
Anything doesn't matter. Even sometimes it don't turn out good, man. But if you
Mhm.
make something, that's the thing, man. It's a success for the day.
Right. Right. And
So,
you're putting it in. Yeah. Have you ever read the book The War of Art?
the
Not The Art
war.
of War, but The War of Art
Oh,
by Stephen Pressfield.
no, I don't think I have. No.
Yeah. So he's a writer, and um, basically the War of Art. He wrote a book about how it's not about. It's just the work that you put in for anything, whether it be art or writing or anything. It's not about necessarily having skills or anything. It's just
Yeah,
show up and do it,
yeah,
and he
yeah.
says he every day he has this little ritual. He sits down at his computer, just types for 4 hours until he starts getting tired, saves his work onto an extra disk, goes out to his car, puts that in just in case of a fire. He doesn't want it to burn
Sure,
up,
sure.
and he turns his computer off and he's done. He's like, no more. But I put in my work for the day, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Totally,
doesn't
man.
care if it's good or if it's bad or not. He'll worry about that later in the
Yeah.
editing phase. So
That's
yeah,
very wise, man. I think, yeah. You
yeah,
got to put in the work, man. That's all it is. Just every day work, 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 and the work develops itself, man. And you're like,
right,
you automatically just will become good by putting in the work.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
there was a guy I went to university with, another art student guy. He's a teacher now, and he wrote on Facebook one time, man. I don't know, hard work and kindness wins the day, man. And I always thought that was a good quote. I mean, if you work hard and you're kind to people, I mean, you're gonna be good in life, man.
yeah, yeah. I mean, uh, I'm still, I'm still in my mid 30s, but the older I get, the more I see these simple platitudes that you think,
Yeah,
whatever, when you're young, and then you're like, it's true though, like you come to appreciate things like that more, I think,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. There's
Yeah.
a, still there's a lot of platitudes on the Facebook, man, that are too platitudy. You know what I mean? But still,
Too platitude, yeah, right. So one other creative outlet that you have is making memes for Japanese audience,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
that's fun. That's funny, man. I was just thinking, oh yeah, we should talk about the meme thing, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Then you bring it up, it's like just right in the right order, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that too, yeah. It leads into that, yeah. Really, like you're good at the podcasting, man.
No,
Smooth
I appreciate it.
transitions, smooth
Thank you.
transitions, man. I was just, I was just thinking that's where we should go next, and like,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah, I mean, it's as part of my creative thing. I'm using it's a fortuitous, accident or whatever that I'm doing the digital art, and like a lot of people are on digital media, and you can influence opinion with I don't know, memes and stuff. Digital production. It's like digital content,
Mm.
right? It's not You're not just taking something and resharing it. It's like creating new content. I make new memes. I've made
Right.
like I can't remember the exact number, but yeah, I've made like maybe like 100, man. I don't know, maybe like 80, 100. I don't know, man. I don't
Yeah.
know, memes, pro cannabis memes, in Japanese language. You know, I had noticed really. It's so funny, like different cultures, man. But American internet EOS, the meme is a very common thing, right? The
You're right.
little
Right.
the little poster with some kind of message,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you never see it in Japanese.
No. No.
Japanese, right? Am I wrong?
No. I've never. I mean, Japanese online communities like Japanese Twitter. You normally don't see things like that. No.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
right.
never. It's like, why not? Is what I'm thinking. Anyway, so like, I'm thinking, okay, so up until that point, all my Twitter posts and my Facebook posts are like taking the logical route. Like my whole life is fucking dedicated to convincing the Japanese to legalize marijuana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
they should, why it's good, why it's moral, why they should do it. Any kind of angle going in that direction is what I'm focused on, you know?
Right.
And I mean, I'm reading books about how to persuade people, you
Mm.
know, so I can learn persuasion techniques in
Right.
order to further that goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't want anyone else to be fucking locked up in a fucking dog cage like I was for no good reason, man. That's wrong. It's morally wrong. And I
Mm.
want to change that. So after a while, I thought, like, well, there's no one's making memes. I mean, why not? So my Japanese not perfect, but you know, I can make a meme in Japanese. You know, and the meme, in one of the books I read, actually, researching this, you know, how to change people's minds, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the books I read is like, you know, and some of the podcasts I listen to, mind you, I listen to a
Yeah.
lot of science-based podcasts and stuff, and one of them I learned, that's probably a podcast actually. People make their decisions not based on logic,
No.
not based on reasoning, mostly. I mean, that comes into play, but mostly it's based on emotion.
Mm-hmm.
They've done studies of that. You got your frontal cortex, and you've got like your amygdala and your emotion-based systems, right? The limbic system. The limbic system, including the amygdala, controls a lot of the emotion. It's really like an old system, man. It controls your emotional feelings,
Yeah.
but it has connections to your frontal cortex and other reasoning areas, and it influences them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, there's a huge influence and a huge feedback from these emotional systems. People make decisions on whether to go and fucking go to war with another country. Hey, should we go to war with Iran?
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they make that decision based on an emotional feeling, not a fucking rational decision in their brain. You know, and
Yeah.
like
It's very true.
that's basic human nature, man. That's why memes are so effective, because it touches your emotion. An image gonna affect you emotionally much more than just some text,
Yeah.
a language-based argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Therefore,
That's
no,
go ahead.
therefore, I started making memes in Japanese to try to influence the argument, man. You know, influence the people.
Yeah.
Cannabis
That's
is
actually
good. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
and that's actually how I found out about you. Just some people that we both follow on Twitter would reshare some of the memes that you had made, and I
Yeah,
thought, oh, I'd never seen anyone do this. I'm like, oh, he's not even Japanese. This guy, who is this guy? So
yeah.
uh, did some digging around. Yeah,
Oh, thanks, yeah. From the
yeah,
beginning, I thought like, can't do it in English. It has to be in Japanese. The target audience is Japanese. Like in the end, foreigners like us can't do really anything, man. In Japan, we can
right.
only like kind of support something that's already there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there are pro cannabis people in Japan, and I'm just trying to like further that movement.
Right.
You know what I mean? Help it along
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So that's it, man. You know.
Yeah, and it's a growing movement too. I mean,
I
there's
think
a lot
so.
more people who are in support of that than a lot of people might think. So,
Yeah,
um,
I think
there's
so
actually
too,
a
man.
yeah, there's actually a bar here in Utsunomiya. It's a regular bar that you would see in any city really, chill place. Went in there a few months ago and they had leaflets advertising the documentary Weed the People,
Oh,
that was
yeah,
making its
yeah,
rounds in Japan, and I thought you don't see this regularly, but this they not only had one, they had it, everywhere.
yeah.
They were really promoting it, and then just north of here in Nasu, there's a cannabis museum.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and they showed the whole history of cannabis related to like the Shinto religion and how
Mm,
Tochigi Prefecture used to be the number one cannabis producing prefecture in Japan. And
mm.
they even have photos of the Emperor Hirohito coming in and inspecting the cannabis fields. And
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, 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 they're really cool people up there too. So
Mm.
yeah, so there people exist, you know, in this country that are they're being more public about it.
For
So
sure, yeah. I want to do more public about it, you know. You should see it
yeah,
like in my neighborhood, you know what I mean? I do the
yeah,
same thing in my neighborhood, you know. The internet's one thing, you know, but you do the same thing in your neighborhood, people like react differently, you know. So like,
yeah.
yeah, it was like I've always like people in my neighborhood, my kids' friends, parents,
Mm-hmm.
or like we go at the local matsuri, you know, not like the Cho matsuri, but like the Shuraku matsuri.
Yeah, like
Like,
the neighborhood one, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like talking to people about cannabis, man, all the time, you know. Last
Mm-hmm.
it was like last year. No, fuck, it was this year, man. In the summer. God, when was that, man? This year, yeah. This chick smoking a cigarette. I don't know. I was drunk, man. So I probably should have restrained myself, but I was smoking a cigarette, and I was just like, you know, that cigarette is worse for you than cannabis. And she was like, what? It was a big
Yeah,
explosion, man, and we had a huge argument after that.
yeah,
And yeah, probably probably wasn't good, but I, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I
But
got,
yeah, I mean, any way you can get the message across, you know. So keep
yeah.
um keep doing what you're doing. So uh, where can people find you online, like in terms of your memes and your art and all that stuff?
Yeah, uh, on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
I have my art and my weed memes. So
Okay.
the weed meme is probably only interesting for Japanese people, man. So it's foreigners all listening to this, right? We're not talking Japanese, right? So
They might find it interesting though. So
mm,
just to see, you know, and they could share it with their friends as well. So
yeah,
anything you want to share, we'll put in the show notes after the show. So
yeah. Well,
yeah.
you can put my Instagram
Okay.
account in there, and
Okay.
maybe I didn't see on Facebook, but Meta Collage I have in a separate page.
Okay.
Meta Collage that would be good.
Cool.
My
Cool.
Twitter
And
account, you know, I mean, really,
all right.
anything's okay.
Cool. Sounds nice. Sounds nice. Well, James, thank you for sharing your story and keep up the good fight. And we'd like to have you on again at some point.
Yeah, that'd be great, Shay. Anytime, man.
Cool, cool. So, you have a nice night, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, bro. I appreciate it, man.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah.